Castlevania Lord of Shadows collection came out for the Xbox 360 as a kind of... We're really sorry the Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2 is incredibly late because we said it was going to be out back in September, then we said it was going to be out in November. Now, of course, the intended release date is January 2014, which, by the way, anytime a video game has a tentative release date of the first month of the year coming up with no actual date of the month, that means there's no physical release date for the said video game yet. But Castlevania Lord of Shadows collection collects 3 of the Castlevania Lord of Shadows retcon stories. You have the Lord of Shadows game, which stars Robert Carlyle from the Full Monty and Stargate universe as Gabriel Belmont, and Patrick Stewart as Zorback, the kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi but still very Darth Vader-like attitude and issues helper throughout the game, and he's the narrator of the entire story. So you have... He overplays it too, so he sounds like Patrick Stewart when he's on American Dad and Family Guy. You get in this the 3DS game as well, Mirror of Fate, which introduces...
You get a 3DS game with a 360 game?
Yeah, basically
That's
it's
really
in the
bizarre.
2DS. It's in the 2DS, because on the 3DS you can turn off the 3D part and make it 2D, and that's why they put out the 2DS Lite, because a lot of people were like, I don't want the 3D. I just want to be able to play new DS games.
I hate
So
the
Nintendo
2DS.
was like,
I think it's
okay,
so pointless.
fine, we will put out it in 2D, and it will make it $70 cheaper, which means when it's used, it's like even half that price.
But you can't fold it. For a portable game system, you can't fold.
Yes.
It's just stupid.
We'll get into the rant about Nintendo's ups and downs later on, because there's quite a few of them in the upcoming
Oh.
console wars about to hit fruition this week as Xbox One or PS4, I think, hits this week.
PS4 is out Thursday.
Yeah, so be warned, Nintendo, you're already in the graveyard. Anyway, you also happen to get a Revere and Resurrection DLC content downloads, which I didn't even know about. Shame on me, because I am a hardcore Castlevania fan. I own every single Castlevania game, including the ones for systems I don't even have. One of my first tattoos is the Belmont family crest on my arm. So you get the Mirror of Fate game, which, by the way, introduces reintroduces Simon Belmont in the Lord of Shadows reimagined universe. The reason why I say that is because Castlevania had pretty much run from 1988 till about 2010. And the last Castlevania game to come out was about 2011, and that was it. They had pretty much released as many games in the original continuity timeline that they were going to. So it was time for them to reimagine it with Castlevania Lord of Shadows. And of course the biggest problem everyone had with the game wasn't that it was a bad game, it was the fact that for a game called Castlevania, the only level of the entire game that actually takes place within Dracula's castle is the last level where you fight death. And then of course people were questioning, well, where is Dracula then? That is a spoiler I will not give away. But you have to play the game to find out who Dracula really is in this game. In Mirror of Fate, it's the ramifications of finding out what the person who is Dracula is, their journey of being Count Dracula. And then the Revere and Resurrection DLC content is more of the Lords of Shadows and leading up to how Count Dracula is brought about in this new reimagining of Castlevania. It's about $40, so you get basically about 3 games, and by the way, you get 2 levels of Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2 as a demo, which is kind of cool. The biggest problem I have with any game seeming to be released these days, instruction manuals are nothing anymore. You get, basically, this is how the buttons work, this is how the buttons work for the DS game, this is how the buttons work for the Castlevania 2 game.
Instruction booklet.
That is
You've
it.
got Google.
No more instruction manuals anymore, apparently. The days of like when you bought Legend of Zelda and it came with like a creature digest and a map of Hyrule and like, this thick ass instruction book, forget that shit, out, gone, no more. Buy Castlevania Lord of Shadows if you never purchased the first one, or if you don't happen to own a DS game, a 3DS, so you can play the DS game and you get the 2 download levels as well, plus a preview of Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2.
The end?
The end.